Well, here you have it. Here's a, about a, I guess 2 foot plus carp. Weighs about 15 pounds. I just caught it on 4-pound test fishing for bluegill. Man, oh man, you just wouldn't believe it. There, give you some concept of the size of the thing right there. Oh, it's a monster. It is a flat out sea monster right there now. Yes, sir. Dadgum sea monster. I'm going to weigh it. I can't believe it's that little. 8 pounds, 9 ounces. That's still big though. Dadgum, it's a monster. So there you go. 8 pounds, 9 ounces. One big carp, man. That is a monster. Okay. I'm gonna let him go. Catch and release carp. Whew. That was a fight. It went on for, shoot, I don't know how long. 20 minutes, something like that. 4-pound test line. That was with the Zebco Bullet. And drag never failed. Sure enough, it was my hook in his mouth. I had to break that one off to get him. So, Zebco Bullet, 4-pound test, Trilene Sensation all the way. There you go, man. Another day. Pandora Marina. Right here, we're going to show you how to use a worm threader. This one's pointed on the end so you can put it into these small worms without too much difficulty. Get it started, use gravity, put it on there, get the point of your hook, stick it in the hollow part, pull it tight like a guitar string, and then feed the worm around there. It's a little hard to do on these hooks with the bent eyelets. It's on there perfectly. Now let's feed it to a bluegill. Boy, it's got pretty here all of a sudden. Here we go. Bluegill time. Oh, it's a nice one. Let's see if we can get it in. Man, that's a slab. I want you to take a look at that one now. That one is a slab and a half. One fine bluegill. Looks like I've got something here. Let's see what we got. Ah, it's a largemouth. Or spot, one or the other. Let that fella go. It's a worm threader. That's how you get it done. Put the worm on. Put the worm on the line. All nice and perfect. Maybe you catch a bluegill, maybe you catch a bass. Who knows what you're gonna catch. I think there might be some still in there. Let's get it right up against the cliff. got it. Something's messing with it. There's a fish on. Nice fat bluegill. Yes, sir. I found a nest of them. Found a nest of them. I sure have. Barely had that one hooked. Well, you can see it's 169 feet deep here. 172. Got a line out with the Alabama rig on it. Maybe it'll do something. Another pretty day. Here we got 5 pounds of bluegills that we're going to make into some fillets. And there's some mighty good ones in here. Big old slabs. We're gonna make some boneless bluegill fillets today, because that's the absolute best way to eat a bluegill. I didn't start doing this till a few years ago. My relatives had all taught me how to eat them whole, and I should have been doing this for decades. This is a Bubba blade, and it is sharper than anything in the world, and will take an edge and hold it, and it's coated with Teflon so nothing sticks to it. It's just one of those things where molecules want to run away from it. The reason you don't take off that side first is so it'll have the right pressure when you get to the other side. Second side's always hard to get because you don't have the same pressure. Jump onto the boneless part here. Cut the rib cage out. And that rib cage is going to take the pin bones with it. And you end up with wonderful little boneless fillets. Sort of like fish fingers. And you can rip through these pretty quick. Bubba blade's got grips on each side for your thumb. That way it won't slip quite so much. I'm not caring about how we're cutting the rib cage because we're not going to eat the rib cage. If you didn't have any fish, you could eat them separately. I've done that. Lots of videos about people filleting fish, not particularly bluegill. But for some reason, people just don't fillet bluegill as often as they would, say, crappie or bigger panfish. But this is the way to eat bluegill, because you really enjoy just eating as many of these little fillets as you want. Just eat them like French fries. And they taste better than any other fish, fresh or salt. Only place I have seen bluegill served is at Kentucky Lake. Kentucky Dam Village State Park has a bluegill fry periodically, done by one of their concessionaires. And I don't know what the deal is on that. Gonna stop here for a second, clean these fillets off. We're gonna rinse all this stuff, get all the scales and stuff off at the very end. These have been packed on ice from the second they're caught. That's a huge thing to do. If you let them sit around on a stringer or fish basket or live well for a day, it is not good for them. Stress hormones get in them, and bacteria and everything else, all sorts of stuff. Reduces the quality of the flavor. So keeping them on some kind of ice from the second you catch them. Clean our work table off here. I always start by using bleach to clean every surface and everything. No sense in asking for trouble. Now that's a little dull there. So you're going to come hit it with this. Might as well hit this one a couple times. All right. Bluegill have very, very tough skin and scales. That's part of their defense mechanism. And so you got to get through that, and it's going to dull a knife. I don't care what kind of knife it is. If you had something like a triple tail in Florida, which is like 10 times as tough as this, you may have to go with some drastic measures fooling with a fish like that. And I don't know, but probably have to peel the skin off somehow. You can't get a knife too sharp. Examples, trout, they're so soft. You don't want a knife too sharp on trout. You just cut right through the other side without even knowing it. And this is a wonderful way to make boneless trout fillets. In a trout, the pin bones will dissolve in the hot grease. And so because of that, you can just cut the whole side of the trout off and pull the rib bones out. And the pin bones will actually dissolve. Do you want to cut the rib bones like this? That's fine. We'll get pin bones. These don't do that at all. They stay with rib cage. Rib cage. This glove in my left hand is a plain glove. It's made out of tough fabric. It might keep you from getting fat. There's certainly no guarantee. Don't stop stabbing. I'm wearing blue gloves pretty all the time fishing more because I got a hand infected for fishing and it's a real common thing for fishing to do. Catching fish and bait, jam hooks and fish fins. So I reduced the likelihood of wearing gloves a lot. Some kind of gloves. But then blue gloves, just something. And you can see we're walking pretty fast. Yeah, if you're going to eat them whole. Some people say that illegal, and that's probably right. Some big saltwater fish, you have to wait as soon as you catch them. You get certain things out of your system. I think bluegill. I think we're definitely in this situation. If you catch bluegill, it tastes funny, it's from water, don't eat it anymore. They grow pretty fast. They mostly eat bugs, so they get a little larger than weights and those. Typically bluegill doesn't have 7 metals in them. Then any other kind of fish, because they're small, they eat bugs. Same for small trout. Small trout, you just don't have trouble getting metals. But in the nylon, most eat bugs. That would include caterpillars and worms and stuff like that too. Small mollusks. You're small, this one's small, it's a wonderful little medallion of bluegills. I was debating on keeping small ones on the cod, but anything that you would eat it and eat it. So then probably got it. There is a high mortality rate on bluegill swallow hook. I've read studies on it. So we can see what that might look good. Nice down. Something like that now. Eat the fat slabs here. Like it, sharpen the knife in. So hit on 4 stab twice. We'll get 5 or 6 strokes on the that side. Now that's my butter. This knife, I'm not going to knife it wrong. It is so easily gets sharpened. Then anything gets sharpened. And then look at that. Perfect. This is not hard to do, and you get the rhythm after you got the fire out. And you can do it in your sleep. There have been times when I had bluegill coffee and I spent 3-hour days. This is not hard to do, and you'll get the rhythm of it after you've done a couple hundred of them. And you can do it in your sleep. There have been times when I have bluegill and crappie and would spend 2-3 hour days making fillets. But then you can put them up and freeze them and eat them over a long period of time, or feed all the neighbors. And today I was just trying to catch enough to make a mess. You can, if you do enough of these, you could hurt your wrist, rotating your wrist around, making this maneuver. Like a carpal tunnel kind of thing. So be careful about that. This is a 6-inch Rapala fishing fillet knife, and something about cutting the steel this paper thin just makes this knife unbelievably sharp. I've got all the other ones, some bought in the 70s or 60s even, and this one's only a year or 2 old, so it's recent. So it's not, it's the way that steel is cut, not the quality of the steel necessarily or anything like that. It's the same steel the other ones are made out of. But when I know a woman at Wolf Creek Dam come in with crappie and bluegill, and she fillets them entirely with this 6-inch knife. She doesn't use anything else. That's all she uses. She's a fisherman too, you know. Well, there you go. Fillets are in their first state on the ice, all boneless. ready to be cooked however you like to cook them. In this case, they're going to be deep fried. And we'll clean up with the bleach and clean out the cooler and get it all ready for next time. There's another day. GoPro, stop recording. Well, here you see we're doing some falafel mix. Putting them here in the deep fryer. And coming up some really nice little falafels. A little bit different than, you know, doing hush puppies. They're really not that different. Really nice homemade falafels here. Cooked in that bluegill grease. So let's see how this goes. Well, here we have some bluegill and falafels, veggies. All right, I dig in.